correct distance, but wow, I can't really give you credit for that one, unfortunately. 29 volume equals 1/3 capital BH. 30A, 58.3 cubic yards, and B is 12.56 cubic feet. How bad is it?
Why did they say around to the 10th and then they have 12.56?
So around the repeating decimal. You rounded to 12.6?
Yeah, actually I had round to the whole 12.56. Actually,
Yeah.
I have 12.6.
I'll give you get 12.6 over to you. I need your formulas in the place. There's none possibilities, so that's a step in the right direction. One is 98, 2 is 97, 3 is 95, 4 is 93, 7 is 92, 6 is 97, 88, 8 is 86, 9 is 85, 10 is 83, 11 is 81, 12 is 80. Do we need to go farther?
Nope. So 4.5 is 92.
93. All right. Insurance. What is insurance? How does an insurance company make money? Think about that for a second. An insurance company wouldn't be in business if it didn't make money. Their job is to gamble on your good fortune.
Your job is just to take the money you put into insurance.
That's correct. So, insurance companies are crooks. Generally speaking, an insurance company will try as hard as possible to find a way to not pay when you make a claim, which is crooked, but it's the way they make their money. So, that's one of the reasons that people tend to view insurance companies with a good bit of distrust, and well-placed distrust, I might add. So, there's some terms that we have to look at, and these are terms that you're going to have your whole life. You're going to deal with. The three terms are policy, premium, and your deductible. All right? Deductible. Ibble it is. Deductible. All right. So here's the way it works. Richard has, what does he have?
I have a bank and they rob me every month.
Every month?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to gamble on your well-doing because that's important here. Actually, I have a good idea.
That's what insurance.
Richard is going to insure me. All right?
Oh.
Yeah. I have a pitch pipe, and I'm going to insure it against malfunctions.
Mm-hmm.
In case I would have to, say if something would go wrong, I have to buy a new one.
Sounds wrong with that.
Cost you higher.
Well, see, that's the thing is, so what insurance does is basically it has to make money on when things are going well, but it also has to insure enough things so that when something does go wrong, it can just pull it out of the top, right? So, but we're going to insure my pitch pipe, and it's a fairly common thing. Everybody in this room has a pitch pipe, and they're all being insured. And so Richard writes
I know
up a
that you're a
policy.
very bad pitch pipe user, and I know that you got bad grades in school, and I know that pitch pipe is a problem to pay for. So I'm going to cost you.
And it's old. It's a 2010 model.
So your insurance is going to cost like $500 a month.
Well, Let's make this reasonable. So the policy is the written agreement that Richard gives me, right? So Richard looks at all, yeah, the written agreement. I can't spell for anything this morning.
Are you a bad, like,
He's
you
a
don't
bad
know how to
bowler.
get insurance? So is it Richard's advantage or your advantage?
So I'm obviously trying to get the best deal I can. I'm trying to pay as little money as possible.
Yeah, but you got bad grades in school, so you can't figure out.
Well, no.
They cost you for everything.
Yeah, so they look at everything.
But
and
since
they
you
figure
already
out-
had
They
wrecks
figure
with
out
that
if it's
pitch pipe, I cost you more for each wreck.
exactly. So every time, and they look at your whole history, and like the last time a police report was filed with me about a pitch pipe, I had dropped it off the cliff instead of the car.
It hit Osama bin Laden on the nose.
Right, and then another time I was blowing it too much, and they, and then I was stopped. And another, reckless pitch pipe blowing is what it was. So Richard looks at all of these things, and at my age, and decides that because I'm under 40 and have a bad track record as far as pitch pipes are concerned, my rates are going to be pretty high, okay? So he looks at it, he's like, that's a $20 pitch pipe, and
So I'll
He's-
have to buy you a $20 pitch pipe. So I'll say, that'll probably last for an hour. So I'll say $20 an hour.
well, so the thing is, what you do is you figure that you go off of a percentage of what the pitch pipe is worth. And you figure, well, if you pay 5% every time, all right? Now you have 15 people that are paying 5% a month of what their pitch pipe is, or 10 or whatever. Maybe you have to charge me 10 because that's such a bad track record. All these things are,
No, 15.
15%? 15, well, that's pretty steep, but we'll work with it today.
I know, but you're a
So
bad
15%
driver.
it is. Bad pitch pipe blower. All right. So what happens is he asks me to pay a premium, all right, like 15% of the value of the pitch pipe. So 15% of 20 is going to be, well, it's going to be $3, all right? So I pay him $3 a month. That's my premium.
Only 3?
Yep, that's 15%. That's 15% of that. So what he's gambling on is the fact that I'll probably be paying him $3 a month for a year or two until I have to get a new pitch pipe. And at that point, he's made more money. Like I paid him more money than what the pitch pipe is worth.
Okay, so Mr. Karen,
But what I'm gambling on is maybe next month I might break my pitch pipe, and in that case he'll buy me one. And then I'll just keep paying him, the $3 a month for my new pitch pipe. Yes.
Mr. Karen, here's the thing I have a question with.
Yes.
So how long have you had that pitch pipe?
Oh, 10 years.
So how much do you owe me by now?
So at this point, I theoretically would have paid you.
You would
since
say
I'm
we
paying you
had-
$3 a month, $3 a month, 12 months a year. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, and then just
I
say
could have
if
bought
I
10
made-
pitch pipes.
say it wrecks tomorrow,
Right.
then I made scads of money.
Exactly. You,
You have to buy one. That's good. You're making your problems go away.
So say you have medical insurance.
Yes.
And you go about 5 years without.
Yes.
You're paying them.
You're still paying them for not having used it.
So they're just taking your money.
Right. But what happens is it's a safety net. So you won't go broke the instant that somebody breaks their leg or falls off the roof. That's what it's for.
This is common.
Dad said that, I asked Dad, you know that medical thing that we've been pouring money into? Our kids have.
AMA or whatever.
Financial?
I was like, Dad, they better pay for that. Or I was, seems a little bit odd.
Felix doesn't want to use
So-
it, he said.
So here's the deal.
But what
Is
do you do?
I pay a 15% premium. So the thing is, I wreck my pitch pipe tomorrow. I drive over it very calmly. Probably
in the
was
pot.
doing dodos in the
Drop
driveway.
it in the pot. The bathroom
Oh.
had good acoustics.
Yeah, we were singing in the bathroom. Perfect. Excellent. So now the thing is, in the policy that Richard wrote up, he said that I have to pay a deductible. All right, so I have to pay a certain percentage.
Oh, yeah.
The deductible is going to be
there's
$5.
And in the fine print, I say this pitch pipe will only be destroyed by tornadoes, firestorms. This does not include flooding.
You know what really bothers me is you're just an expert in insurance currently, and it just really hurts my feelings because you could be writing up a policy right now, and well, yeah. So yeah, that is another thing they do is they only insure against certain things.
Yeah,
so
you
like the
think
building,
it's
they'll
insurance,
insure against. Like
Like
in this area, they probably wouldn't
fire.
insure against a tornado
So you
because we won't have tornadoes here.
you
So if one
insure
would
it-
pop up, well,
No, you
you
insure-
strong winds.
right.
Mr. Can't you insure
Lisa,
yourself against
That one.
water spouts when you look over here?
Exactly.
They would do it.
So here's the deal. I dropped my pitch pipe in the toilet and it's stuck. It's total. The pitch pipe repair company says we can't do anything for it.
And in the fine print, there is no, they won't pay you for flushing it down the wall.
And yeah, one way or another, we have to get a new pitch pipe. The insurance company, I mean the pitch pipe repair company said it's total. And so I talked to Richard and he's like, oh yeah, we'll buy you a new one. He says the deductible's $5. So I only have to pay $5 for a new pitch pipe. That's what it costs to have an accident.
God, I'm
It's
spoiled.
deductible. Yeah, you are. We're in bad shape here with Richard being in charge of the.
Actually, I don't pay you anything because I didn't include toilet flushing.
Well, I'm gonna take your court.
In my fine
Yeah,
print.
that's down the road. At this point though,
You're
my deductible is.
Yeah.
I'll talk to somebody about it. Somebody in the church will ask this.
They're gathered.
2 or 3 gather, we'll gather a few together here. You Richard up. So the deal is, I have a $5 deductible I have to pay in order to get a new pitch pipe. And then Richard pays the rest. So I wind up paying $5. This is my deductible. Richard pays for the $15 for the rest of the pitch pipe. And then everybody's happy. Everything's hunky-dory. This is how insurance works. The deductible is what you pay once you have an accident. So often, like, well, actually, that thing doesn't have full coverage.
Why?
I don't put full coverage on pieces of garbage. I just put liability. Because of
You
this
can
very
lie about
situation. So what?
Liability.
Yeah, some liabilities in my liability. So basically, the deal is, if I would run into anything with that Jeep, probably the other thing would be hurt worse than my Jeep. And so there's medical insurance, so if anybody was riding in my Jeep or anybody else's, medical bills would be covered. But if the Jeep is totaled, oh well, I paid $1,800 for it.
Only 18.
I got a pretty good deal. But the thing is, so I'm paying what,
How much
$600 a
you
year in
pay for
insurance. Pay $1,500. I'm paying $1,200 a year in insurance. No, $600 a year in insurance. And so whatever, I only have full coverage on Karen for some unknown reason. I paid $3,000 for her.
So what would happen?
So I crashed into a deer with Karen. All right, so I had a $500 deductible. 1,000. I can't remember. One way or the other, the insurance company paid me $3,500 to get her fixed.
Is she still angry?
Yeah, she was angry before. She's been angry ever since. But anyway, so that's sometimes they make a mistake when they assess the value of your vehicle, which I'm not sad about in this situation. I wish they would have just totaled it because often they don't pay for, like, basically if the cost of the repairs goes over 50% of the vehicle, they'll just total it, they'll send it off to a scrapyard, and they'll give you the money to go put it into a new vehicle. So I kind of wish they would have totaled it because then I would have probably gotten $6-7 out of it.
Pretend you should have you should have hit the deer, then pretend like you lost control and crashed into a big tree.
Exactly.
Make sure you're all by yourself.
And then had Richard as your,
As my insurance agent, he would take me every percent I have. He would figure out how to call insurance fraud and then, well, anyway. So that's what insurance fraud
You
is.
probably have a helicopter once.
Things like that.
Yeah. I've thrown all over the state.
Every model. Actually, I think like Progressive, or there's a few of them now that have like a doohickey you plug into your vehicle, and it tells you if you're braking too hard, accelerating too fast, and cornering.
wait, it's not
And
like.
it'll actually make your insurance it'll make your insurance go down if you plug the thing in. Generally speaking, if you drive like a little grandma going to church once a week. But if you drive like me, then it doesn't help you at all. Actually, it's been a good long time since I had a moving violation. So I should go talk to my insurance agent about that. I bet I could actually get it.
You want it?
I want my premium to drop. So the thing is, you go talk to your insurance agents. It's been like 3 years since I got stopped, which is a good thing. And so we go talk to my insurance agency about that. I'm guessing they would actually drop my premium.
My dad, if he gets stopped one more time, he has to go to driving school.
Seriously? That's kind of embarrassing. I bet he drives like a little angel most of the time.
No.
Oh. Weird. Alright, so to satisfy the law. I'm not going to go through 1, 2, and 3.
I think it's just a little while.
I think you can get those yourself. But to satisfy the law, but offer reasonable rates for car insurance, the wagon restricted on coverage for vehicles and so on and so forth. So Frida pays a yearly premium of $120. So that's every year she pays $120, that's $10 a month. Or quarterly payments of $32. So how much more does she pay per year if she gets the quarterly payment? So this is actually another thing, is often, so I pay, twice a year, I think is the cheapest rates I can get. So my insurance is $630 a year for my three vehicles. And I pay in October and March, May, something like that. March, $680. So I pay like $330. Thing is, I could choose to pay every month, and it would be, I can't remember, like $58 a month. So that's another way to take you to just, really get you where it counts, is to get you to pay more money, less money more often. But most people are like, okay, so I can't afford a $380 for a lot of people, not most. A lot of people, I can't afford $380, over there. So I'm going to just pay every month a little bit, and then they want to pay more money. This is what's going on here. So if she pays every year, it's $120. There's once a year, yearly. Or she can pay quarterly, which is 4 times a year, at $32. So the question is,
That's cheap insurance.
yeah, like insurance that cheap.
She pays $8
Well,
more.
if you have complete garbage vehicles and have not full coverage on them, I think you might be able to get away with that.
Why complete garbage vehicles?
And a good driving record. Because you have to pay less
You have a good
insurance on
driving
garbage
record?
vehicles. Here's what?
You have a good driving record?
Pretty decent. I
Except
did.
for the time you buckled yourself into the steering wheel.
What time was that? Oh, that was 5. That was before I was married. That was 7 years ago. 8 years. Yeah. So that goes off your record after like 3 years, I think.
Really?
Things drop off your record.
Seriously? I was gonna stick with the impression once you had a wreck, that was on your record for.
Well, I did have a wreck. I fell asleep. I was working night shift, so I was working from 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was going to work. I was driving an hour and a half, and at 1:30 in the afternoon, I was driving for about an hour, and I fell asleep and drove over a hill, and kadoosh, sideswiped the guy. My mirror came through the window. Nobody died.
It's down on your window.
I think I blew out his tire.
Did he jump out of his car and start yelling at you?
Yeah. So we had just gotten back from Haiti as well, so I actually didn't have insurance on the vehicle. Because when I was in Haiti, I wasn't paying for insurance, so we just got back from Haiti for about 3 weeks or something. I hadn't gotten around to calling the insurance agency.
Were you in trouble then?
So I paid for his truck. So the thing is, so he had full coverage insurance, so what happened was his insurance company came after me and made me pay for it. It was a 2001 Chevy Silverado with, I don't know, 612,000 miles. Well, not quite. It was like 230 or 250. It was terrible. It was a terrible vehicle, but
Try to make that word. Continue.
Anyway,
Did you just make it up on the spot?
I don't know. I just said that one. I have no clue whether I made that one up or not.
My grade book.
All right. So that was unfortunate for me. It was the only time I really needed insurance other than Karen got smacked. And didn't have it. So yeah, question is how much more
So
should
don't
pay
you
for
get
insurance?
Don't you get in trouble if you don't pay insurance?
Yes, I also got $300 fine on
So it'd be
that. Which was technically cheaper than paying insurance for, the time I was in Haiti, but the wreck wasn't.
You had a wreck when you were in Haiti?
No, after I got back, right after we got back from Haiti. That's when I sideswiped the guy.
Did you yell right back at him, or were you still asleep?
No, I didn't yell back at him. I was basically like, actually, no, I fell asleep. This was my fault. I'm very sorry. Repentance, I apologize, Ashley.
He yelled at you?
Yeah.
Never mind.
I can't say.
A few choice words.
Yeah, he used the whole vocabulary. But on the other hand, I had been working in the woods and I was used to choice vocabulary, so it didn't particularly bother me that much at the time. People have yelled at me before, they've yelled at me since, and they probably keep yelling at me because I'm such a lovable person. Anyway, that's all.
Should you be paying like $8 more?
Yes. Alright, Algebra. We have a test coming up for you, which is your chance to make the report cards look awesome. The report cards are coming out, and this is the last week for report cards.
I don't think it's gonna look that awesome though.
Well, you can really impress the people, I would say let's spend some time trying to make
With
the
all
report card
these
look
grades in this book,
Yeah, there's some pretty rough ones, but
87, 77.
I looked, and if you get a 100,
Get up to 91.
you will hit 91.
That's impossible.
No, I wouldn't say it's
I never-
impossible. I would say you have to apply yourself.
Very impossible for me to get 100. Because I never get 100. I got
I'll put it this way, your grade
Okay,
average will go up a
Yeah,
lot
it
more.
says that when you
Then
get like a
Drew's-
97.
If she gets a
He
100,
said
Tracy gets a
that's
100,
terrible
man.
and pretentious. I said,
If you get 100,
If you get 100, your grade average goes up like, 3/4 of a point.
That's serious? Yeah, so automatic.
Doesn't
I got
affect
100
it
on
very
the
much.
last one.
I know, that's one of the reasons it wouldn't go up very far.
I got
But
79
if you get a
or
really
less.
bad grade, will it go down very far?
It'll probably go
Say
down
what?
really, really far.
Or if you get a bad grade, would it go down very far?
So here's the deal, if Drewcy gets a bad grade on the test, hers will go down quite a ways. If Lisa gets a bad grade on her test,
It's
it
not
won't
gonna do anything.
actually affect it that much. But if she gets a really good grade, it'll go up.
I don't really care about them, Dan.
I don't honestly know what your grade average is, I don't know why. So
I'm not
92,
cheerfully in the
93?
middle.
You are cheerfully in the middle. It's like a 92, 93. It's not too bad.
Mine's like an
I got like
86.
a 99 on my last test. though.
Yeah, I know.
I've been getting bad grades. Me, worse grades.
It is, well, I think it's partly Christmas vacation and kind of more complicated concepts.
So the last test, the dummy equation.
That was for a long time.
There's 5 steps.
All right.
Test
I had a 91.
Okay,
That was like 3 years ago.
94, 86, 93, 98.
Test, yeah, I got a 79 on
All right. So this is just going, I want to check. I forgot about checking. I was so excited about factoring the difference in squares.
Did we skip number 12 or did I just accidentally?
I had boxes of Kleenexes.
Yeah, no, return more box.
We've been
Yeah, look in the.
Where? Oh, I need to have one of number 12 quickly.
Okay.
Okay,
Before we go in, I skipped it.
you skipped number 12 on fun 13. Correct?
Yeah.
Unified why?
Donkey is bad. I didn't even know 112 what it is. No, it's not a bad word. When we're being bad.
What's really good is
tell
when
us
you
to
can-
double the goof. What does that mean? I have no idea.
I have
We just
theories.
sit there and look at her.
Well, I mean, yeah, I would say,
I'm trying to
the
remember.
cool, yeah, cool thing, no, not even.
Okay, 12, it's at
Probably
square
like
there.
straighten up or something.
12, square, yeah, there's a root.
Yeah.
We have- You don't have anything.
I only have x squared. That's the first I got.
Okay. Anybody else have any help on number 12 from last lesson?
Add x squared plus 4x. Interacting plus 4 interacting. For 12, I have, did you say x squared plus x plus 2?
I'll put the question.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah, so,
I never reduced mine.
right. That's what's going on there, I think.
This is like first one.
So it goes like this. So you have, so it's x plus the square root of 2 times x plus the square root of 2. So your first is x squared,
Yeah.
outer is x times, so we have
Two.
what? So we have plus x times the square root of 2. So that's what that means, x times the square root of 2. And then equal plus x, because inner is x times the square root of 2 as well. And then
Plus
you get
4 or 2.
plus 2. Yes, because 2 times, the square root of 2 times the
So,
square root of 2 is going to be 2.
4x. So x squared plus 4x.
X- No, not really. So x plus, so
It's
now
x
here's
squared.
here's the deal. This one plus this one is what?
X squared.
It's actually, you can treat it the same way as this. 3x, or actually I'll go with this, 2x plus 2x.
4x.
So the deal is, right, so this would be 4x, but how about this? What about x plus x?
2x.
2x. So that's what we have here, x plus x. And since this is just a coefficient of x,
2x.
you just leave it there. So you just go 2x times the square root of 2. And then plus 2 at the end. Alright, let's check this speedily.
We skipped number 4.
Did we? Yes. Alright, 1A. No, 1 is 30. Marvin's pump was 30 liters per minute. Edwin's pump was 60. 7. I don't have to write that down. Marvin's pump was 30. 2. Time was 20 minutes. 3. The amount of water was 12 quarts. Over 4 for now. 5. Y equals negative 3x plus 1. 6.
Negative 1 over 3. That's the same thing.
No, it's not actually. Negative 3 over 1 is much different than negative 1 over 3.
But how, why is it? It is 1 over 3. 'Cause it's,
5.
1 over 3, yeah.
So rise is what? The rise is,
3,
and the rise, that's rise over 1. Negative 3 over 1. 6. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus minus 2. And 7. Y equals 1/4 x plus 2.
plus 2.
Plus 2, that's the intercept is 2.
Why? What is it?
7. The y-intercept is the bottom.
Wherever the line
Wherever the line crosses the y. 8. 5RS minus 6S plus 2S, well, my bad, 4S squared. 9. 11R plus 4RS cubed minus 6. 4RS cubed. 10. 25x to the 4th minus 50x squared plus 25. 11. 36 plus 36x plus 9x squared 12, x squared plus 2x times the square root of 2 plus 2. 13, x squared minus 16. 14, 4x squared minus 9. 15, 25x squared minus 0.25. Suppose we have, yeah. 16, x equals negative 4. 17, x equals 1. 18, x equals negative 2. 19, the slope is 2. 20, 0. 21 is negative 1. 22 should be, the y-intercept should be 5. With a negative, slight negative slope. Looks like a 1/3 negative slope. 23, y-intercept is 0. With a negative slope, pretty steep. 24, horizontal line with a y of 7. Y-intercept is 7. 25, there's a y-intercept of negative 5 with a fairly steep positive slope. 26, 7, then in parentheses n plus 2. 27, 12 over x. 28 plus 3 minus 5. 29, the mean is $849.29.
Mr. Pitt, I think I rounded it.
849,
Yeah.
I can work with that. Median, $825, mode, no mode. 30, a complementary triangle is 90 degrees, obviously. Talk about that. D is 18 for one angle, and the other angle is 72. 31, Sonia's age, 27 years ago, Sonia was 1/5 of mother's age. So it's 27 years ago, so back to this.
And Sonia said,
Yeah, you're looking for years,
Yeah, but
correct?
27 equals x and
Okay, I can cover that. 32, Jason's pump ran for 59 minutes and Andy's ran for 29.
I think like Jason.
Is that 59?
yeah.
33, adding, oh, do we do this one? Skip that one, and what about 34, which is on that one. The slower drain releases 4 gallons per minute, the faster is 5. And 35 is good as well. All right.
Are these two graphs, are they switched or is just this one?
Which one do these?
22 and 23. I think this one's wrong, but then I wasn't sure if I switched
So
them.
22, looks like you're, yeah, it looks like you just got the wrong slope. You have a negative 3 instead of negative 1/3. Slope.
Okay, that one.
And 23,
That one.
oh, looks good to me. Well, maybe not quite. That's only a 2/3 slope. And here it's a negative 2. Or negative, no, even negative 1 slope. Instead of negative 2/3. So your dot should have been there. Will it work for that, you know?
No, I don't know what the question was.
It was just an equation, 2y equals negative 3x.
Yeah, that's all. Oh, well then it's probably down here somewhere. Maybe it's not.
2y equals negative 3x. So you see how that works right here, we're negative 2. I think that's not for that one.
This one?
For 23, yeah.
Yeah.
Since your work is right, it's right on this one.
Well, what about this one? Is this gonna work right for that one?
22, where we at? X plus 3y equals 15. So here, so we have y equals 5. Negative 1/3, yeah, actually, that's correct.
So half?
After that one. All right. So, whenever we're trying to deal with distance and or something running out, what formula do we, what base formula do we use? We talked about this a little bit. I think distance equals rate times time. That's correct. So we're trying to figure out how fast our pumps are running or whatever. We have our total 350-gallon tank. And then we have equals, our rate times time. So whoever's pumping times the time, X times the time, plus, the other dude, plus 4 times the time. But anyway, so that's the base formula. Remember, we're dealing with the volumes, we're dealing with distances, and so on and so forth. So the percentage, the percentage question, which we have to get nailed down before the test, is actually I'm gonna make sure that we are
Do we have
nailed down before the test. Say what?
3.
Oh yeah. It's like 45, I think.
Not bad.
Oh, you know what? You're going to get off easy on the percentages. There are no percentages on this test.
There's one thing that's already.
There's no percentages, and there's none of that distance over time needed.
So what is?
They do have. So here's what we'll do. So the test is happening. They were at 15. No, they were 14. Tomorrow we're at 15. The test is coming in on Wednesday.
So we're doing the new part from last lesson.
We're going to talk about the new part a little bit. And we're going to.
Already the new part from this.
I think. Say what?
Already the new part.
Yes. The new part from this lesson isn't hard. I feel I should do the new part from this lesson first. So we might actually talk about. Might go back and hit the repeat.
Oh, so you're gonna figure out what these are now?
Say what?
So you figure out. They just
Yes,
ask
so
you-
now we're going backwards, basically. So we remember that if you have an x plus 4 and an x minus 4, you can figure this out, honestly, without going through all the work, because you just do what? Instead of foiling it, you do,
X squared minus 16.
right, so which is just simply, just fillet.
First and last.
Fillet it. You just rip the outer and inner. Don't worry about them, because they're just a positive 4 and a negative 4. Now this does not work if you have a positive 6 and a negative 4. These numbers have to be the same. One has to be an addition and the other has to be a subtraction. All right, so what do we have here? You said
Squared minus 16.
x squared minus 16. Why minus 16?
One's negative.
One's a negative. All right. So now we're just going to work it backwards, which is easy, actually, to a certain extent. Basically, what we wind up with is we want to factor this out. So we've factored out other ones, but basically the thing that you'll wind up with is you'll have x squared minus 25. Now you'll never have one with a positive because you can't. It won't work. Oh,
What do you say then?
say what?
The number 6 that has a positive 4.
Well, so what they did there is have a negative squared, which you just simply have to reverse that. So this is when you wind up going like this. Well, we'll talk about this in a little bit. So what you do is just kind of work it in reverse. You have an x plus the square root of 25, which is 5, and you have an x minus the square root of 5. Bingo, factored. That's your answer. One's got to be a sum, the other one has to be a difference. That's the way it works. So, sometimes, like say for number 6, actually I'll do the example number 3. What did they give us? Oh, here's, I'm going to do actually example number 2 first. So that was our easy one. Now we're going to do the hard ones. So say for example you have 4r squared minus s squared. All right, so it's similar. We're going to factor this. What we're going to do is we're going to set it up. Because we have, basically the reason, yeah. How are they going to actually, it says factor the binomials when possible. So there's going to be, okay, apparently some of them aren't.
I can't see it.
It's gonna throw a wrench in the whole system.
I know. Ah, yes, I see what's going on. Yeah, so, like for example, number 7 cannot be factored. Why not?
Number 7, that doesn't have a root.
No.
No.
No, actually. Because there is no negative.
So that means 6
Because there is no negative, both positive, so it can't be factored. It can't.
right?
So, right, you cannot, you're done, cannot factor. All right, so here's what you do: is you start out, you have your parentheses, you have one a positive and the other was a negative, and square root of. Say what? Right, because the square root of, basically you use that, you have to root both sides. So the square root of 4r is obviously 2r. 4r squared. Right? So you get 2r on both sides, and then you get s. Exactly. You rooted both sides. Perfect. So you just have to root this coefficient, same as any other time. All right, and then lastly, sometimes we'll wind up with this situation. You have this little negative 49 plus y squared, whatever they have there. So what you do here is you just switch it first. So you go y squared minus 49, and then life is easy and happy. You want to make sure that that negative is on the right side because it matters in your factoring. And then you factor it. So you have positive here, negative here, and you get what? Drusy? Exactly.
So on number 6, you'd have 49 on the left side.
Right, so in 49, what you do is just this.
7
Yeah,
plus b, and then
You
7
get 49 minus, what is it, b squared. Minus b squared. So yes, exactly, same thing. You set up your plus and your minus.
Yeah, but they don't have it set up like that. They have negative b squared plus or something for that.
I know, but then you just switch it around.
Okay.
Just make sure that your negative's on the right side when you start, because otherwise it'll throw off your answer. So yes, then you have 7 minus what, or plus what?
D, and then 7 minus.
Exactly.
And then you just leave it like that.
Exactly. If you're factoring it out. This is what factoring is. It's making it more complicated. Perfect.
Then number 8.
6, that's no 6. How do you do that?
X to the 6. So what's the square root of x to the 6?
X.
X squared.
So what?
X
X cubed, that's correct.
X cubed.
I know, but that won't come out. It will come out, like, if you would figure that out, then it would be X.
Yeah. So you have to that one of those that are
Minus 5 times X cubed.
no, when you're multiplying, you just add them.
Right, so when you're multiplying, just add the exponents.
Oh, that's cubed.
Did you change my, did you get anything from my desk?
No, I'll get you eventually to do it yourself. That's the best system.
So all the voting goes on me.
That's right. Next time it's your fault. Alright.
You can do 10.
I'm gonna look at 10 a little bit. Don't want to give you the answer. Particular.
You can just help us till we get to the next
No. Unless you, see, the thing is, you need to be able to find these things anyway. So, we'll start with number 10, what's the variable we're looking for? What do we have going on? Say again?
Is it 9 gallons per liter?
Which one?
Or in the first
Yes.
Do you mind
And they
if I
want
do
the second
that?
one as well. Say what?
7 for the second.
No, don't worry about writing down your answer yet. Yes, exactly. So what, in that case, you don't have to worry about following along. Our variables though, are which?
First one, second one.
Okay. First pump we're going to show as what?
I don't know what variable do you want to use?
Say again.
So which variable do you want to use?
Well, you can use the first pump.
Okay.
F? Sure. What about for the second pump? How
X
fast,
minus,
how fast do they work in relation?
Would it be F minus 2000 or F minus?
Okay, so the first pump operates at 2 gallons per minute more than the second. All right? So one of these has got to be variable.
minus 2.
You do F minus 2, that'll work. All right, and then you have to have a third thing, which is the time, correct? And our time is, convert your hours to minutes, because that'll make your life easier. Because we're going to be working in minutes, so we know how many gallons per minute. 125 minutes. So, now we have, which formula? Simply,
Distance equals.
distance equals rate times time. What's our distance?
2000.
Okay, so our quantity, our distance equals 2,000. What's our, then we have to just punch our other
We
things
don't know
in.
what rate is.
What is?
Rate? So,
Yeah, we don't
that's
know.
correct. So we're looking for the rate of our pumps. But that means we have to have the rate of our pumps together.
So
So
125 times F,
Right?
for the time.
Okay,
For the time of the rate, that's what you said?
125 times F. So this is just pump 1 though.
Yeah. Then you have 125 times F minus 2.
Okay.
That's what I
And,
I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea what you just said.
okay, so this is our second pump. All right, so we have pump 1 and pump 2. All right? We want to know how long it's going to take.
So if each
And that
pump-
No, we know how long, we know how long it
Is
took.
that just our time right there that we wrote up?
Yeah.
This 125, yes. This is how many minutes. So we have our rate times time. So our rate is F minus 2
Okay.
and F.
Okay.
So those are our rates. Now what do we do here?
Add.
Add them together, right?
And then I have a question on 13. Is it just 24 or so?
What's the square root of 4?
Here,
What's the square root of 16?
4. So it's supposed to be 8.
We'll just sort it out like that. So you have 2 times the square root of 4. Then it's times 4 times the square root of 16. And just figure this out. So you have 2 times 4 is what?
2 times 4 is, the square root of 4 is 2. No, it's 8 and 64.
2 times 2 and
Why
here we
64?
have 4 and
16 times 4 is
what's the square root of 16?
4.
4. So when you multiply 2 times 2, 4.
It's just 264.
8 times 4 is what? What?
Yeah.
8 times 4? Okay, what's this?
4 times 4 is 8.
16. 16 times 4 is 64.
It's 64.
Okay, but last time I went 3 times 4 and that was 8. And then I had 8 and 64. Is that the wrong way to do that?
So the deal is,
I'm not sure.
multiplication, it shouldn't matter what order you go in.
I know, that's what I thought, but it's completely wrong now.
This one is correct.
Are 12 to 15 all like full numbers?
Yes.
I have 60, I have for 30, I have
What's the
60.
square root of 5 times the square root of 5?
But
What's-
there's 12.
What's the cube root, what's the cube root of, well,
I don't know.
what did you say?
I'm done, I don't have any more questions.
So 12 times the square root of 5?
Just 12 times.
Don't worry about 11 for now. If we have spare time today, which I'm not actually anticipating, we'll worry about it. Maybe, I think we'll talk about our percentages tomorrow, more, because we have a review. But the silly percentages, I'm still trying to come up with a good hack to actually just figure it out. Like, same as our D, was our T thing. This
So you
is
said just leave 11?
pretty straightforward. Leave 11 for now. I'll try to come back to it if we have some time.
I need help with the other one.
I'm done.
I did this graph a couple times now,
Okay.
and I keep coming out with
X minus 5 equals what? Alright, so 0 minus 5 is going to be negative 5. 3 minus 5 is going to be negative 2. Negative 3 minus 5 is what?
Yeah, I didn't know what that was.
positive.
Make my look
No.
Well, it missed the center line, so.
Hang on.
It makes
I just drew a line.
Negative 3 minus 5.
Like all mine are perfect, like none of mine.
That's
you know,
negative
So,
eight.
you're almost
Yeah,
right.
They won't go straight.
Yeah. Negative 3 minus 5 equals negative 8.
Seriously?
That's correct.
This, and see if they won't go straight, like it's
Yeah,
all
mine
third.
too. That's what mine did.
See, that's
Okay,
like-
so now, let me see yours.
See, look, like the-
That's
like
mine
some
came
lines
out
that go straight,
exactly
one's
like
third.
that.
What? And then the next one was worse than I erased it.
Okay, hang on a second.
I might have done something.
I sure.
That's not the way
Completely
it's
got it
straight.
right without.
Is this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
And don't, and then it couldn't go too like.
If I,
so negative 8,
if
negative
if you
3.
draw it, it just misses the one.
So we're negative 3. We have, oh, let's see what's going
Our
on.
new
See,
one-
here's what happened, is they messed up here. No, they didn't. What's going on?
I have mine, I have my sums the same as his.
Yeah, so see, look at
Mine
this.
went up.
See, here's what went wrong. See, this gap right here is too wide. This is 1, and like, we're not sure whether 0 is here. No,
This is
I
a
just drew
zero
a
line.
line, Mr. King.
Okay, but see, they're running that as a negative 1 line. That's what's going on.
I just drew a line.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
that's a
didn't,
better
mine was
idea.
just like this.
So their graph is screwy here, that's what's going on. So this is a negative 1 line, this is, the
But-
0 line is missing.
Is it still crossing between negative 2? Is that where it does cross?
I'm not right sure on that one, I don't know,
I have mine crossing at -4, -8, but I could be wrong.
I'll look at it here in a minute. But yeah, I would say add a line in here, that'll help, but that'll help your numbers come out. Alright, so X, 0, negative 5, that's good. We have 3, negative 2, it's also good. Now, we have negative 3 and negative 8, so X negative 3 is where? Negative 3.
No.
So X,
I-
we're on the
I-
X line, so this is an X line. Let's let me first, so negative 3 on the X line.
I don't know.
Well, let's just not more, let's give it a grace. There you go, that'll help. Now your next one. So check up to 0, 3. So remember here, this is, yes, it's a negative 3 plus 3. Negative 3 plus 3 is what? Right. No, you're right, Paul, because negative 3 times 0 is 0, it needs plus 3, so you're right. Then you have 1 times negative 3, and you're correct, be a 0. Absolutely, spot on. And then 3 and positive 3. So you have negative 3 times positive 3, which is 1. 1 times negative 3 is 0. 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 1 times negative 3 is 0 is, I should write that one term for you. For multiplication, you multiply a negative times a positive, you know what's going to be.
That would be -9.
Negative 9 plus 3 is what? Precisely. Okay. So now plot this, we give 0, 3. 0 on the x.
Oh.
3 on the y. There we go. And 1, 0. 1 on the x, 0 on the y. And 3 over 6. That should work. All right, what can I help you with there, Chris?
On this one, like, where are we supposed to put this one? He was 13 at the time. Where was
What is that?
That's an independent clause.
It was 13 at the time. Okay.
What is-
So what kind of a clause is it doing? So if you would say, so what is it doing particularly? What is it describing?
Say how it,
What
Benny
you would-
Benson.
Right, it's describing Benny Benson. So you have a couple of options to describe Benny Benson. You can have it in a positive phrase, or you can have which, you could have a noun phrase that's in a positive, which, I would recommend, or you can have an adjective clause.
So which one would that go under though? This? Like this one or this
When
one?
it's describing Benny Benson, it goes under Benny Benson.
Okay, so we're gonna leave this one.
Okay, so then what do we have? So we have design Velasquez flat. Then you have later he became an airplane mechanic. All right? So what is this? Later he became an airplane mechanic.
It's like another independent clause.
It's another independent clause, correct? So you're actually on the right track. So,
And where should I put, like, he was 13 at the time?
well, the thing is, you can kind of put it anywhere and make sure it almost connects it to the right spot.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say about it. It is time for recess. And I forget who's it.
I did it.
Joyce, it is. Volleyball. And that's
Can you have a negative x?
you can. Do you have a negative 1x?
No, I just had a 7 minus x, and then I started
7
my
minus-
7, so now I just have a negative x. Is that?
What situation are you looking at?
I'm just trying to solve the inequality right there. And then
See, a negative x is,
okay.
yeah, technically speaking, so here's the deal though, is very often we don't like to have a negative x, right? So, what do you have? Negative x is less than?
I have 7 minus x is less than or equal to 10.
Yeah, but you got rid of your 7, right?
Yeah.
Now you have 3. Negative x is
Yeah.
less than or equal to
Yeah.
3. So what you do in this situation, which I should almost wait till Lisa shows up again, but you don't want to have a negative x particularly. So how are some ways to get rid of that negative x?
You could add the x to the other side, but.
Well, you could flip them, yeah. There's another way to do it, and that's just simply multiply by -1.
And then you'd have to make it, and then you'd have to switch your sign.
Right.
So then you'd have x is greater than or equal to -3, right?
Yes.
Classic. I like how far back that car is from the truck.
Well, there's a.
Everyone's going to really slow.
Sounds like something might happen down there. Or something Mark said. We don't know what happened.
Well, there's a. Let's go.
is over.
Class.
We're still going to do no literature, no reading.
So we're not doing it.
Serious?
No literature, no reading.
Let's go.
So what?
No, it's after.
$100 income, so-
Oh, drink it on.
Life is
Good
good.
to the party.
Here, give me a blue one. That's,
I want a blue one.
Oh, yeah, green. They're on the bottom.
as the teacher, I require a blue one.
You know, I think you can go, can't you just go buy like bags at a certain time? Just go buy a big bag of balloons.
I don't know. I almost get tired of it. I kind of like the green.
I like the
grape.
I always get the green.
I don't like grape. You know,
Great.
I don't like
Green
grape.
apple, second best.
I don't like green.
Green apple is actually good. I like. Where's the thing at?
I don't really like green.
I have
Hot
some.
sauce.
Okay. I have to have it, guys. Oh, I got one.
Okay.
No, that's a stinky green. Green. I want a blue one. Oh, good. I signed one. Oh, I got one. Oh, yes.
Okay, we both got one. That's good.
We're good.
You're the watermelon.
Here. Okay.
What kind is the best?
I'm starting to like Dustin.
Oh, there's like no blue left.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I took all those.
And you still want to do
Yeah,
I
no more left for
ate
you.
I ate my blue first.
All right.
because I'm-
So yes, like I said,
Nobody can see it.
Yeah.
we've used that period up completely, and we've used that for language. So that means we have to get right on it.
That was worth reading, right?
Oh, we have a quiz in ours.
Yes, you do.
In language?
Yes, there is.
Oh, we remember this.
I wish it wasn't today.
Green apple. Good grief.
I like the green apple though. Like it actually.
I don't like the watermelon because it doesn't.
You like the watermelon?
I don't like it. It doesn't ever have a good flavor. Like it.
The flavor's hard to taste.
It's kind of.
Is cherry or
It
watermelon?
kind of wears off.
I like cherry.
Watermelon.
My usual is I got watermelon, grape one, and my usual.
Does anyone want? Actually, never mind.
All right. We're going to do English first, so I got a quiz.
Class? Or, okay.
English.
I'm only at number 23 in algebra.
What's the difference between an adverb clause and an adjective clause?
Adjectives are the relative pronoun subordinate and adverb subordinate.
What do adjective clauses modify, Jersey?
Nouns and. I don't know.
Roughly nouns, yes. And what do adverb clauses modify, Christie?
Verbs and maybe adverbs.
What's a relative adverb?
When and where. I think.
Where? Yeah.
Yeah, where and when.
And it starts what kind of clause?
Subordinated.
The subordinating clause?
No, I don't know what
The
it
relative adverb starts what kind of clause? An
Adverb.
adverb clause. All right. What is an elliptical adverb clause?
You like then and now? It's like
An
when it
elliptical?
doesn't have the.
What
Alright.
about verbs?
Like
Or nouns.
understood or something.
So, like, if, for example, you would have a sentence that would look like this. Actually, this might be an example. No. what's missing from it? The verb. And our verb could be what? Alright, so how would we diagram that? Just the clause itself. You just put an X where the verb would be. So since it's what kind of a clause again? So this goes
On the dotted line.
on the dotted line to there or to there?
To work,
Right, because why?
because it's an adverb.
Okay, so here, what do we put? We put an X, right? And here we just put elephants. All right. Elefante.
I thought mammal was like the adjective. If something's mammal, it's huge.
Hmm?
I thought if something's mammal, it's huge.
Oh, it can be an adjective.
What was the next one?
Yeah, it was a big hairy elephant. As in very big.
It wasn't bigger than the African.
It wasn't bigger than an African elephant? I thought it was.
It was smaller.
Hmm. I see. He knows his things better than I do. All right. So that's ellipticals, we got adverbs, we got adjectives. All right, let's check. I'm gonna start on 4. I'll check your diagram. That way I can see how it's going for you. Number 4 is C, 5D, 6B, 7A. C, D, B, A. Jump to the next page, number 11. When playing Scrabble is in brackets, and the arrow goes to learns. 12, then to Switzerland is your clause and goes to Malta. 13, circle P. Number 14, circle me. What's the rule for noun in an elliptical clause? What pronoun? So I would say, what's the rule?
Whichever one makes more sense.
Not really.
If they are called,
and he is.
Right, you finish the elliptical.
given,
So it's he is correct. You don't use him. All right. 15, relative pronoun bracket, who wrote The Life and Adventures of Robinson Crusoe, which is actually, it's kind of a lame book in some ways, but it's a classic, so you almost should read it. Anyway, I don't have plans for that right now. Next year. 16, relative adjective, clause around when he wrote his first book. 17, relative pronoun, who had been marooned on an island off Chile.
What was 15 a relative pronoun?
Relative pronoun. 18, bracket, when the first European settlers came to America, arrow goes to were. 19, because they had sold much of their land to the Europeans, arrow goes to moved. 20, when the before side of Ohio goes to continued. And I said you have to do one of 21 through 23. Lisa, what do you have for your one?
that's when you the people, continues in all of that.
Okay. I can work with that, I guess. Brucey?
I did 21. And this screen was way louder than me.
Good. And Chrissy?
I did 23 and the past we did that went crooked lids and then left.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yep, that'll work. All right. And hand those in. Yeah, so basically you're finding adjective clauses and then relative pronouns or adverbs. Again, you're supposed to write the one down, not write which one it is. And if it's understood, you write it in parentheses. For the first one, and then the next one, Says write the word modified by each underlined adjective clause. No arrows, just write the word that's modified. 11 through 15. That's where we're supposed to identify them as relative pronoun and relative adverb. What are the relative adverbs?
Where is it?
Where and when. Right. What is the, what's the difference between a transitive verb and an intransitive verb?
Transitive has received and transitive.
Action or linking or being or what?
I have no idea. This one.
Transitive is action.
Transitive verbs are all action verbs, and so are intransitive verbs. Transitive and intransitive verbs are action verbs. The transitive have a receiver, intransitive do not. It says transitive means action verbs. Go. You.
Can you help me now?
Is it short and sweet?
It might be.
Or should we do the lesson first and help after?
We could try to do that.
Okay. That way, not everybody's waiting on you. I like that system better. We do have a spelling test tomorrow.
Okay. We're eating, don't eat the stomach. Definitely don't eat the stomach.
Okay. We'll just start here by going to lesson 3. With this.
I remember a big diagram.
Come back to it. It should be possible. Alright, so how do you tell when to underline or quotation mark titles?
For
example,
around stories, articles, poems, songs, and chapters.
So what do we do here? How's it going?
That was right behind me. I did that scary.
So we have the name of a boat. What do we do with it?
Underline.
Underline the name of the boat.
Yeah.
All right, so we have the same thing, but now this is a poem called, oh, by the way, do we underline the as well?
Yes,
No.
Mr. Kent, you would so.
Not in this situation, not unless the is part of the type name. So
Since
this,
would you ever hear anyone saying Titanic? No, you said the Titanic. Come
here we have a poem called The Titanic.
on.
What do we do with it?
Put it in quotation marks.
Quotation mark it, yes. And now we have a magazine called the same thing, but we just,
Underline it.
it's a magazine. All right, why? It's a magazine. What about an article in the magazine called the Titanic? Quotation marks are on an article. And the movie.
Put the car wreck.
What about the movie the Titanic?
That would be underlined.
Yes, you would underline it. That's correct. Although it wasn't in here, but yes, you would.
Because we're not supposed to be watching movies. We're not supposed to be watching movies.
We're talking about it already into that. But yes, the movie would get underlined. That's correct. Symphony.
Underlined.
So number 1,
You know what?
the rite of spring belongs to be underlined. If you were some people that I know. I think that's a Dutch phraseology. So the rite of spring is underlined. 2, Bethel Daily News is underlined. 3, carved in stone is in quotations. And Country Discoveries is underlined. 4, Zephyr is underlined. Not the, just Zephyr. 5 has none. 6, A Midsummer Night's Dream is underlined. 7, A Strange Bedfellow is in quotation marks and underline the school train. 8, quotation marks are on How Great Thou Art. 9, underline Hindenburg. 10, underline Mares of Diomedes. We'll roll with that pronunciation. 11, adjective. 12, ing and noun.
And
13.
subject.
Write it down because it can also happen as a direct object or an object of preposition. Those are both nouns, but they're not subjects. 13, to and noun. 14, compound complex. 15, compound. 16, complex. 17, compound. 18, complex. 19, compound complex. 20, bracket around because there was no snow in Anchorage, and underline because, and put adverb over that word.
Underline because?
Underline
Circle
because.
that. I circle.
Circle all of them,
Mm-hmm. Well, except for that.
Technically, my bracket is underlined on.
The circle does
yeah. Doesn't count,
underline.
unfortunately.
The circle does.
How mean do I get?
I'm very sympathetic. This is the day for,
Sympathy?
yeah.
Because Friday was the day for slacking off, so today is the day for sympathy. I didn't slack off on Friday. I was
We didn't
operating
either.
at full speed. Mostly. Probably. I guess ignore that little detail for now. But you do not know how close I was to giving you 3 points off. 21. Your clause is who start the race, who is underlined, and start is an adjective. What in the... Oh yeah, it's an adjective clause. No, the whole phrase is an adjective clause.
Yeah, you start the race, do not finish. That's it.
Oh,
Start the race, do not finish. Yeah, take a half point for the end of the thing. Do you have it as an adjective clause?
Yep.
Good. 22. Your clause is that is determined by drawing numbers. Underline that, and it's an adjective clause as well. 23. Quotation. Double quotation starts before recording. Single quotation before you. And then single and double after base. Each set of quotations is worth a point. 24. So where each half is a half point. 24, double before half, single before first, and then single after there before the question mark, and then double after the question mark. Because the first encounter with blueberry is not a question. 25, double quotation mark before find, and after Alaska, double before then, and after man. 26, past, past perfect, present perfect, future perfect.
Perfect, what part is that?
Perfect.
Yeah, you're wrong. Is that you're wrong? Because another person.
Yes. Yes. All right, so 27, subject of the sentence is Rick Swenson. Holds is the verb, direct object is record. Underneath record is the adjective clause modifying Rick Swenson is who has won the Iditarod 5 times. Who is the subject of that clause? So the dotted line goes between who and Rick Swenson. Has won is the verb. Iditarod is the direct object. Underneath Iditarod is the. Underneath has won is times and 5.
Oh, I
Is
switched
it-
it around. I had 5 times.
Is it, how much off is it if it's misplaced?
You have it going under holds or something?
No,
Or you have which one?
Under Iditarod, just 5 times.
Oh, yeah, that would be it. And then Susan Butcher is the subject of the next sentence, the second independent. The verb of that is has one, and the direct object is it. Underneath has one is 4 times. Same situation times 4. 28. Subject is people. Verb is need. Direct object is foods. Underneath need is in extreme cold as a prepositional phrase. Underneath foods is high fat. That's one word as an adjective. Then the second independent clause is some eat sticks of butter. Some is the subject, eat is the verb, sticks is the direct object, of butter is the prepositional phrase under sticks. Semicolon on the line between the verbs. Make sure that's verb and verb underneath. And then the dependent clause is as if they were candy bars. That is adverb clause. They is the subject, were is the verb, bars is the predicate nominative, candies under bars. As if goes on the dotted line that is between eat and were.
Candy bars is one thing.
I can deal with that. 30, ecology. 31, pessimism. 32, atheism. 33, psychology. 34, biology. 35, microbiology. 36, zoology. 37, meteorology. Oh, never mind. Somebody spelled something wrong. I was going to make fun of them. One day, right. 38, genealogy. 39, racism. 40, cardiology. 41, patriotism. 42, monotheism. 43, neurology. 44, optimism. 45, ornithology. 46, communism. 47, geology. 48, theology. 49, archaeology.
Whoa.
Oh! Yeah, that's right. 49. Yes, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. So you're going to have a pretty good grade. 96, 97, 107. 108 points. You're going to have to use your calculator. So subtract from like you have wrong. So the amount you have right over divided by the 108. So you go 108 minus whatever you have, 4.5.
So the 7.5 is 93.
Probably.
3.5 is 97.
Sounds all right.
595.
Probably. All right. The 3 main verb tenses. How many of you would believe me if I said that I struggled with this as a child?
Everybody. I would.
I would.
Well, here we go. The 3 main verb tenses. Chris, give me one.
Pass.
Past. Next one, Cody.
Past perfect.
I was thinking of something else. You know what? We're going to go back to my route. We're going to think like before past perfect. We have past, we have present,
Future.
And future. That's correct. Alright, so we have something called a verb form that is different than a verb tense. Alright? Everybody with me on this? A verb form is different than a verb tense. A verb form is something like a past participle, right? So a participle is a verb form. A past participle is a verb form, where the past perfect is a verb tense. And it's very important to keep that straight because it just is. We're going to use well, I'll put it this way. Every word has a past participle, right? So the past participle, it's like saying, how can I say this? It's like saying everybody's got a water buffalo, kind of. Where, you know, everything, never heard that wonderful song. Or it's like saying, you can be, oh man, how would I say this? So of the past participle is simply a verb tense. So say, for example, you have this verb. We're going to use the verb fish. All right. So this is the present tense is fish. This is the verb, right? So the past participle is fished, or had, or has a helping verb. But the past participle is fish. Fish had fished, right? Leah. Stop what you're doing. Pay attention to what I'm saying. This is very important. All right? Everything has a past participle. Like, say, for example, the word explain. What would the past participle for explain be? Explained. That's correct. As a helping verb, explained. So had explained, so on and so forth. And we know how to deal with these to a certain extent, but getting everything all clear in our minds is the tricky part. So we have our three main. So let's just work with these ones. What's the past for fish, Chris?
Past for fish.
Fished. Yesterday I fished. That's good. And future, Richard?
Will fish,
Will fish. That's correct.
or will have fish, or.
Well, no, that's different. That's the
That's the future.
that's the future. Yes. Exactly. That's the future perfect. So here's the deal. And then we'll just do explain. What's the past of explain, Lena?
F,
The past of explain. Explain.
explain,
Explain is correct. And the future of explain is,
Will explain.
sure, we'll explain. All right. So here's the deal. These ones are easy, right? We can just kind of deal with past, present, and future. It's when we start to deal with the perfects and the other ones, the progressives, and so on and so forth, that we start to deal with problems, all right? But we're going to try to keep it real super simple and get our perfects nailed down. All right. So the perfects go like this. Past perfects. Perfect. So can't even spell a thing. And future, present perfects, my bad. Present perfect. I'm going to say present perf just because I can. And future perf.
That's a good word, perf.
I know. Perf. It could mean anything. It could mean perforated. It could mean perfunctory. It could mean perpendiculous. I don't know.
You can just make it be a word by itself.
Is that a
Just
word?
perpendiculous? No. I don't think so. You might be able to look it up and figure I'm wrong, but I've never heard of perpendiculous myself. All right, so the way you deal with the perfects is this. You simply take the given word, so all these perfects have a helping verb, right? So So the helping verb for past perfects. All of them, let me make sure I get this right. Past perfects always use had. Always have a had, every time.
Didn't we already learn this?
Yeah, well, I know English did, but I want to pound this into your head so you do a better job than me.
Yes, we learned this. We learned this like years ago.
You're welcome. I saw it glinting in the sunshine. Present perfect always uses has. And future perfect always uses will have. And then, on top of that, so they always have these words, and then they use the past participle form to create perfect, all right? So say, for example, you need me to take your book away from you, or? Okay, but I want you to follow me for that. Pay attention. All right, so what you do is you take the past participle of all of these and pair it with the right helping verb, and that's what you get. Okay? So, past perfect of explain. Had explained, exactly. And present perfect of explain. Has explained. And future perfect of explain, Leah, will have explained. So it uses this, pulls in our past participle. All right.
Okay, so for number 7, you could say, I work my butt off for school every night.
Yeah.
Would that
Yes,
be correct?
so you can, I mean, I would discourage using that terminology, but yes. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. So the thing about a present is you can also generally put an S on here. This one, you know, whatever, depends on whether it's a singular or plural verb. So you can say work or works, for example. So you can say somebody works for whatever, and that's also present tense. All right. What about the present perfect of work? Leah, what's the present perfect of work? First of all, present always uses which helping verb?
Has.
Uses has. And what's the past participle of work?
Has worked.
Has worked, right. So you use has worked.
What could I say? Have worked?
No, have.
Wait, isn't that has and have?
Hasn't have, you're right. It is has and have. Yeah, I missed that one. You can also use have. Has worked or have worked.
So
That's
like,
correct.
I have worked at school.
Right, and there again, yes. And there again, it's the singular plural thing going on.
That's a present perfect. Perfect. I have worked.
Have and has, yes. The present perfect. For past, just simple past, no perfects. What do we have, buddy?
Or worked.
Worked, exactly. We say worked. You notice on page 15 they have the conjugation of the regular verb to walk. Notice how that top row there, they have the present participle, past, and past participle. Right? Those are the 4 verb parts. So this is a part of a verb, right? The past participle. So all perfects use the past participle. You can see that there. And that changes when you get to progressives and perfect progressives. A little bit. Anyway, that's good enough for now. I want to.
Does shall have work or shall have work or future perfect? shall have.
For future perfect, will have or shall have. Who uses shall have?
I don't know, not me, but I mean, I might use it. And I would think of
Yeah, I'm guessing it probably would. They sure don't list it here. It's not something we ought to actually say very much, which is kind of weird. All right. What's an adverbial noun phrase?
It's like an adverb that can be used as a noun.
Or a noun that you that's used as an adjective. So you would say, last night. Last night is an example.
Or, yeah.
Last night I beat a fly to death. Perfect. That's violent enough for anybody.
Does it matter which relative pronoun you use if they know both make sense?
No, I do.
So I have two of them there. I just put them on.
Just hold on.
Wait, so the goal present tense is really just that or which or I and then got baby Jesus. I put that down.
So, one. I kind of wish to go to Alaska just to have it on there.
It's fun. You go swimming.
It's
Is that all there
quite,
is to do?
it's quite entertaining.
No, you see
I don't know,
moose
moose.
in a river, a frozen river. We saw baby moose, and the mother just standing on the edge of the ice watching it.
We went and snooped after a baby, after some moose, and the mother was stamping her feet at us. And quite
You want to
ticked off.
not get
But
run over by a moose.
we drove up there one time.
Hey.
Moose are, I only had one.
Yeah.
Moose are crazy by definition. They
They're
are
moose.
all, every moose is insane. Every one of them.
That is racist.
We drove up there.
Mooseism. But I don't care.
We drove up there, and we took our grandma with us. We had this thing that you could slide up. So where the steps came in, you could slide a little floorboard out. And it was really, really bumpy. She was out there and she hit the button, and her foot got stuck. And she just said, release it, and we laughed at that every time. It was really funny. Just think of it.
Stuck inside.
Our poor bitch.
She was getting sucked into the machine.
Well,
The
we
violent
couldn't
machine feeding
help
her
it
blood.
because it was really bumpy up there, and it was a bus we borrowed, and I think we wrecked something on it too.
I like to take an old school bus and build it into a camp.
We had a camper with a wall up top, like a bed up top of bed.
If you're going on
We
a
did
long
all
road trip,
sorts of
not
stuff.
borrow trip.
Already got there.
Hey,
What
you
about
know
stuff
what's
like
going
that,
on?
didn't we?
Borrow trip.
We had a really nice old bus, and you had like seats in it that would turn around. Like the
It was
360.
supposed to be AC, didn't work, and it was like, well, other people.
Yeah, no party.
That bus has problems though, ever since we got it.
Yeah, the tire blew out.
That was your
so
fault.
many people bought it.
in Alaska.
Well,
Gerald
Drew
and I listed a few other things.
they had it,
The bumps are stuffy.
Drew Season had it, and they went back to Pennsylvania, and it went across the United States quite a few times, I should say. Gerald and Jewel borrowed it, they went back to Pennsylvania or something.
Was that just the other day?
No, and we also had the drive shaft blow out on us
Last
in
night.
Rollins, Wyoming.
Why?
Yeah, we had the tire blow out on us while we were going down the ramp up to go.
Well, I know
on the
people
highway.
in Rollins, so it probably helped me out, so there's that.
No, we did too. We had no idea, but here comes the Mennonite man. Dad knew, and he was a mechanic.
Oh,
Yeah, they ran
that.
They were just sitting up on the hill watching cars
That
go
undercover
past us.
cop is still there.
I think they're
Everything that bad happens fast, there's never anything around you can't even.
Well, at
find
this
a
point,
part.
they're probably trying to piece together what happened for the insurance company.
We have to do
Because-
If
because-
I ever have a wreck, I don't want to be at fault.
So is the
That would
insurance
just be
company
terrible.
having a bad day today too?
Hmm?
Is the insurance company having a bad day?
Yeah.
Thank
What's
goodness.
really great is when both sides have the same insurance company, and they have, hard to fight yourself. But no, insurance companies, obviously, but they always, every time, try to get out of paying as much as possible.
So they're using an alternate insurance company? They're doing all that work down there for the insurance company?
No, that's clear the road off too.
I know.
But so, partly what the deal is
Why do they
in
spread
case
the
of-
lines and all that stuff? Who's
In
that
case it
for?
comes a
Oh,
sue
oh,
or
in case there's a lawsuit, so they have information. So basically what they do is they're like, they can figure out how fast somebody's
Almost all the
going.
things left except the state trooper car. Well, aren't
They can figure out how
cars
fast
still-
somebody was going, but how long their skid marks are, and
I don't
how
think
far the
they-
car's
oh,
from.
yeah, I
and
do, I
stuff.
do. The cars never.
Well, they must have been going fast because if both engines are in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just.
Do you ever have a head-on collision, or like just a random other collision?
Random other collision, I think.
Random other head-ons are just.
I know, but it seems like if you,
Except-
okay, say,
There's
if they
designations
hit you
for
in the
that.
side, if they hit you in the side, you were just broadside them or hit like that, like normally that wouldn't happen, but if you're backing out of somewhere, like, wouldn't you almost rather have a head-on collision than that?
Well,
Yeah, your crumple zone is better.
Well, if it's really fast.
Depends on what you have. Like, if everybody's belted in and you have the side airbags, you'll probably still be okay as long as they're not going 120 miles an hour.
or like 60, that's still pretty fast.
Yeah.
60 is really fast. So, like, you think about even 25 miles an hour, like, you feel like you can brace yourself for that. But a 25 mile an hour impact, come to a dead stop, there's, like, you'll go through the windshield. And 25 miles an hour isn't very fast in the grand scheme of things. Like, if you're not belted in, if you're not actually restrained, your chances of surviving even a slow speed crash are.
There's this one
You can
time-
still do it, probably.
There were
You
some-
know,
Okay, so if you go flying out the window, isn't that better than being stuck in the car?
No.
Why?
Are you
Well,
sure?
think of it like a suit of armor. If you would get shot out of your suit of armor to where you could just bang along across the ground, and you're doing all the banging on the ground rather than the suit of armor, that would be much, much more unpleasant, correct?
Well, yeah, but
A car is designed to absorb the
I
impact.
don't know, but what if the concept like
Then you wish to be out of it.
I'm
But
just saying,
cars
it's
have
not-
very many safety protocols where even like if they flip upside down, the fuel shuts off. If they hit, like I went over a pothole once.
Why? You know how the airbags go?
No, but it did shut off the fuel. So there's a sensor. It was an old Ford Explorer. Oh no, it wasn't a pothole. I remember what it was. It was my tire blew. I was going home. I was going home and I must have had a bad tire or something. Anyway, it started to bump pretty bad. And I was almost home, so I just snaked in, which was not advisable. Anyway, I went into the house for whatever reason. All of a sudden, God, boom, like gunshot loud. And it blew, it took the fender of my little Explorer and actually moved it out. The explosion was so violent. And
What exploded? Your car?
the tire exploded. And when it blew up, it triggered the fuel shut off and I couldn't start the vehicle. I had to, there was a button, special button I could push and underneath the carpet, underneath the dash. It's pretty cool.
There was this one.
Okay, but here's the deal, Mr.
Did you
Kent. It
just-
just seems like if you're in a suit of armor, and the two suits of armor can be serious damage to each other, it seems like all the metal and the armor can be bashing into you. Wouldn't it be almost better if you just went flying out and all you hit was your windshield, and then you hit the ground? Wouldn't that be almost better?
No.
Why?
Oh, that
It
reminds me
just
of
seems
one.
like I'd rather go through the windshield
So-
than be in the accident.
we should set up an experiment just to prove this. But right now we have to work on, we have to do our spelling rules. But I really want to set up an experiment to show you what I'm talking about. And I have some, well, think of, have you ever done the egg drop experiment?
No, but I've watched it.
What's that?
We should do that. It's not really a big part of
Like
the
it
science
takes
curriculum.
8.3 seconds for it to fall, or the one where if you put enough bubble wrap around it, it won't.
Roughly. Let's go up and do our spelling word.
There's
Let's
this-
go through them one
I have
time.
one cousin,
Spelling words.
she saw a wreck, so she got out, went over there. The lady had brains splattered everywhere. She was on the asphalt and she was with her until she died. Cars were coming and she still was out there.
That would be like traumatizing, I think. I'd leave it there.
Yeah.
The same one who got married to a iffy guy.
Yeah.
Yes. No, he's
No,
not.
if he got,
He's just a rich person.
Okay.
And that brown.
she's the iffy girl.
Enough
name calling.
name calling.
And Mr. Kent is called his FBI. Some of us think
Sea serpent. Alright, ecology, ornithology, biology, or geology.
Like, if you think about it, not like somebody a kind of seahorse.
You're insulting their dad.
But
Yeah.
but like,
Like 34, 35, working on
It's actually not.
Geology, racism.
it's the same as calling
Archaeology.
somebody like a dog.
It's son of a female dog.
Yeah.
Geology, racism, archaeology, optimism.
Well, archaeology doesn't.
Like,
Is
there's
that
not
a
too
female
much,
dog?
except for,
That is pretty offensive.
Especially to his mom.
Yeah, it would be
It would be his
Tim.
mom than
Tim.
him.
Yeah, Tim. It's Tim. Geology, racism.
Tim, you're
Okay. Atheism,
Where is your number?
microbiology,
What is that?
patriotism, monotheism. There's almost
Red
three.
deer.
What?
There's almost three triggers.
I'm erasing your
Communism. Pessimism, meteorology, and theology.
Yeah.
Meteorology.
Mr. Kent, how many trout fortunes were there? Put together,
About 200.
so,
Thursday.
Thursday.
is, if both cars are going 60 miles an hour, is that a
Like not this
120?
Zoology, neurology, genealogy, psychology.
They're only going 35. That just
Can you
right there.
I went to one time,
Did you have to?
Neurology.
Neurology.
because it was October.
Imagine Carl with the car always times I go 100 miles an hour.
I read it 4 times before I got it.
I think
You're gonna still
Wait,
fail.
you're writing that one.
And I still fail.
No.
It's probably because you're nervous. 'Cause
So-
I couldn't.
Well, I had it orthodontist appointment that morning, and there's a
What am I
after,
supposed to do?
and I
Have you
got
cleared
things, so.
If it failed, you just do it.
I went on Friday. Yeah, you can go in the next
We're gonna
day.
do art.
Friday, Saturday, and then
Did you study? No.
I'm
not doing Chicken powders are good in the middle.
Yeah, they're red.
Like on the example question where it's 2 plus 2.
Genealogy,
Always call it a rainstorm or something.
neurology.
Doesn't take her.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did it wrong. I put 2 in.
This is the
So,
I did 4, I did it right. Mine was 2 plus 2.
I think Josh did it. You got it there.
You
What was
did
it?
not.
I did it
Josh, I think maybe sure he did it.
I'm trying. Well, then I got it right. It was bad. Okay, I was 21 and 7 wrong.
What?
Close.
And it's the ones I had to get built.
Or, you know, okay, right there.
It's a bad
I know,
thing.
I just
I
wanted to hear.
didn't know what it was. I
Wait,
said
you
no.
got 7?
No.
You get 8 wrong.
That's good, all right.
That's what I thought.
I had 7 wrong.
It's time for lunch.
And for the last like 6 wrong.
You had to get 3.
Oh, there's a news truck out there.
Oh,
As a
Richard,
car
it's
after
2, 3,
7
4,
wrong.
5, 6.
Yeah, see, it was right.
Well, it was, I was switching to came back to me and I failed.
And that's the other that I Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
Is it lunchtime?
It is lunchtime.
Those cars.
Let us be lunching, people. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Bring out the beautiful sunshine that you gave us today. And I pray that you keep be with the people that were in the accident. Please heal them with the things of science for love. And I pray that you hold us out of it.
Amen. Ladies, gentlemen, follow us. Following this gentle lady.
My bad. I did myself a bad deed. You did yourself. I was running out there and there was no food to get out there.
Oh, that's inconvenient.
Dude,
Me and Patrick, Christy went out. That was, it was awful at first.
Don't get numb.
And then it got really bad.
It got